Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. You know, we always bring you the most interesting stocks, and today we're diving into e.l.f. E.l.f. Beauty, that is. They took a major hit this week.
All right.
And we're going to try to figure out what in the world is going on.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one because, it seemed like everything was going so well, and then, boom, things changed pretty dramatically.
It was like a light switch. I mean, 1 minute, things are looking great, and then the next.
Yeah.
They announced they're revising their fiscal year 2025 guidance downwards. And the market was like, nope, not going to have it.
Yeah, on February 6th, the stock plunges over 20% after hours, and it kept going. I mean, it fell another 25% the next day.
So we're talking a serious drop here. And for a company that's been, kind of a Wall Street darling, this is a big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, just to give you a sense of how much they lowered their expectations, their earnings per share forecast went all the way down from 347 to 353, down to 327 to 332. So, quite a significant drop.
Yeah, that's a pretty big chunk of change. And it wasn't just the earnings per share. They also slashed their revenue expectations down to $1.3 to $1.31 billion.
From a range of 1.32 to 1.34 billion.
So, clearly something is going on here. But what's really interesting is that this news comes right after they had a 31% year-over-year increase in revenue for Q3. I mean, they hit $355 million.
Yeah.
So how do you go from that kind of growth to suddenly slashing guidance? It's a real head-scratcher.
It is. And they've given a few reasons for why they're lowering expectations.
Like what?
Well, they said January sales were softer than they expected, which is a little strange, right after the holidays.
Yeah, you'd think there'd be some carryover, some momentum from all that holiday shopping.
Exactly. But they're also blaming some external factors, some pretty unusual ones, actually.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of unusual external factors?
Well, they mentioned the wildfires in Los Angeles.
Well, the wildfires. How do wildfires affect makeup sales?
Well, think about it. Those wildfires caused a lot of disruption, air quality issues, uncertainty in the region, all of that can definitely impact people's shopping habits, even for things that might seem unrelated, like makeup.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. If people are worried about their safety and well-being, they're probably not thinking about buying new lipstick.
Right. It's about a broader sense of unease. And then there's the TikTok factor.
Oh, yeah. They mentioned TikTok, didn't they?
They did, and this is where things get really interesting.
I'm all ears.
Because e.l.f. has been incredibly successful using social media, especially TikTok, for their marketing.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen their products all over TikTok. It seems like every other video is someone raving about e.l.f.
Exactly. So what they're saying is there's some uncertainty around TikTok's future.
You mean like if TikTok faces restrictions or loses popularity?
Yeah. They're worried that could impact their sales.
Wow. So they're basically acknowledging that they're really reliant on social media.
Yes. And that's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, it's brought them a ton of success, but it also makes them vulnerable.
To any changes in the social media landscape.
Right. Which is constantly changing. I mean, who knows what the next big platform will be.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, are they diversified enough in their marketing efforts?
Yeah. That's a big question. Because if TikTok goes away, or if their audience moves on to something else, what's their plan B?
Right. And this all comes back to, even before this guidance revision, their profits were lower than analysts expected.
So even with those strong sales in Q3?
Their profitability was already a concern.
Yeah. So maybe those external factors are just part of the story.
Maybe. There are some internal issues as well that they need to address.
Okay. So we've got some potential red flags here, both external and internal. But where does that leave investors? Is e.l.f. a buy, a sell, or a hold?
Well, let's take a look at the technical indicators to see what the market is saying.
All right, let's get technical.
So right now, the stock price is sitting well below its 20-day, 50-day, and even its 200-day moving averages.
Uh-oh. Those are not good signs.
No. Those are all bearish signals.
So the trend is not our friend.
Not at the moment. And if we look at the MCD, the moving average divergence, that's negative as well.
So more bearishness. Is there anything at all that looks positive?
Well, there is one thing. The RSI, the Relative Strength Index, sits at 22.92.
And that's good.
That's deep into oversold territory.
Oh, so that could mean?
It could mean the stock has been pushed down too far too fast and might be due for a bounce back.
Okay. So a glimmer of hope for those bargain hunters out there.
Exactly. But it's not a guarantee.
Of course not. Anything else we should be looking at?
Well, there was a surge in trading volume on February 10th,
Oh, really?
much higher than average.
And that could mean?
It could mean that traders are starting to position themselves for a potential rebound.
So some people are seeing this dip as a buying opportunity.
Yeah. It's definitely a mixed bag right now.
Well, let's see what the analysts are saying. Because they're supposed to be the experts, right?
Well, some of them are saying this drop was warranted, given the lowered guidance and all the external pressures.
So they're saying don't get too excited.
Pretty much. But then you have others, like Piper Sandler, who actually increased their price target to $165.
After the bad news.
Yes. And they maintained an overweight rating.
So they're still bullish.
They are.
And they're not alone.
No. Jefferies also revised their price target upwards to $175 with a buy rating.
Wow. So some analysts are still seeing a lot of potential in e.l.f., even with all this uncertainty.
It's definitely a mixed bag,
Yeah.
and it highlights how much uncertainty there is around e.l.f.'s future.
Okay. So to really understand what's going on here, we need to zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture.
The wider beauty landscape.
Exactly. Because e.l.f. doesn't operate in a vacuum.
Right. There are some big trends happening in the beauty industry that could have a major impact on e.l.f.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, there's a growing demand for international beauty products, especially Korean skincare.
Oh, yeah. K-beauty is huge right now.
It is.
So, is that something that e.l.f. could capitalize on?
Potentially, if they can expand their product lines and tap into those new markets.
But it also means they're going to be facing more competition.
Absolutely. From both global brands and up-and-coming niche players.
So it's potential opportunity.
Yeah.
But also potential challenge.
Exactly.
What other trends are you seeing?
Another interesting one is that even with the growth of online shopping, a whopping 94% of consumers still prefer to buy their makeup in stores.
Really? That many?
Yeah.
I guess there's still something to be said for trying before you buy, especially with makeup.
Absolutely. You want to see how the colors look on your skin, how the textures feel.
Even though e.l.f. has a strong online presence, their retail presence could be a big advantage.
Definitely. And it's something they should definitely be leveraging.
What else? What other trends are we seeing?
Well, there's the rise of high-tech skincare and personalized beauty solutions.
Ooh, that sounds futuristic.
It is. We're talking about AI-powered skin analysis, customized formulations, and even beauty devices.
Wow. So is e.l.f. keeping up with all of this?
That's a good question.
Right.
Because they've built their success on offering a high-quality, affordable makeup.
Right.
But will that be enough in this new landscape?
Where personalization and technology are key,
Yeah.
that's something we'll have to explore further.
In the next part of our discussion.
All right. So we've got a company at a crossroads, a stock that's taken a major hit but might be oversold, and a rapidly changing industry landscape. This is getting interesting.
It is.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dig deeper into what all of this means for investors.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about the ups and downs of e.l.f., but now let's get back to our listeners. What does this all mean for the everyday investor who's trying to figure out, okay, is this a good buy or should I just stay away?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is?
Should you buy e.l.f., sell it, or just hold on to what you got?
Right.
And that's a tough one to answer because there are so many factors at play.
Yeah. It's never a simple yes or no, is it?
Rarely.
So let's recap for a second.
Right.
We got a company that just slashed their guidance.
Right.
They're blaming external factors like wildfires and TikTok's uncertain future.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty there.
But their profits were already falling short of expectations even before this whole guidance thing happened.
Even with those strong sales in Q3.
So it's a mixed bag, isn't it?
It is. But they do have a history of strong performance.
They do.
And we can't forget that oversold RSI.
Right. That could be a sign that the market overreacted a bit.
Possibly.
So maybe there's an opportunity here for those who believe in the company's long-term prospects.
There could be.
But of course, it all comes down to your own investment philosophy and risk tolerance.
Absolutely.
Some people are comfortable with more risk than others.
Yeah, some are more risk-averse.
So, there's no one-size-fits-all answer here.
No, every investor has their own individual circumstances.
But the most important thing is to do your due diligence.
Right.
Don't just rely on what you hear on this podcast or what any analyst tells you.
Do your own research.
Dig deep.
Look at e.l.f.'s financial statements, read their earnings reports, and try to really understand their business model.
Really get to know the company before you put your hard-earned money into it.
That's the key. And as you're doing your research, ask yourself,
Yeah.
do I believe in e.l.f.'s ability to overcome these challenges?
Right.
Can they adapt to this ever-changing beauty landscape?
Then they stay ahead of the curve.
Those are the tough questions.
The important question.
And there's no right or wrong answer.
No, it depends on your own individual assessment. But if you're looking for a guaranteed home run,
Yeah.
e.l.f. is probably not it right now.
There's too much uncertainty in the short term.
But if you have a longer-term perspective
Yeah.
and you believe that they can adapt and innovate,
And you're willing to ride out some volatility?
then maybe this dip is a chance to buy a good company at a discount.
Possibly, yeah.
But remember, we also talked about some wider beauty trends that are impacting the entire industry.
Right.
Things like the demand for international beauty products, particularly Korean skincare,
Yeah, K-beauty is really taken off,
and the fact that a lot of people still prefer to buy makeup in stores.
despite the growth of online shopping.
So these trends are presenting both opportunities and challenges for e.l.f.
For sure.
They need to figure out how to capitalize on the opportunities while also navigating the challenges.
And they need to do it quickly.
The beauty industry is constantly evolving,
Yeah, there's no time to waste.
so e.l.f. is at a critical juncture right now.
A real turning point.
And the decisions they make in the coming months and years will determine whether they can maintain their position as a leader in the beauty industry.
Whether they sink or swim.
So what do you think, listeners? What are your key takeaways from all of this?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Do you see this recent dip as a buying opportunity or a sign to stay away?
Head over to the comment section and share your thoughts.
And if you found this discussion helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow investors.
We appreciate your support.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive into the world of investing.
Until then, happy investing.
Before we wrap things up on e.l.f., I want to bring up something we haven't really touched on yet, and that's brand loyalty.
Okay.
I mean, e.l.f. has built a really loyal following, especially among younger consumers, by offering, those quality products at affordable prices. But how strong is that loyalty, really? Can it withstand these kinds of challenges? The stock drop, the lowered guidance, all of that.
That's a really good point. Because brand loyalty is important, but it's not always a given, especially in the beauty industry. I mean, think about it. Consumers, especially younger ones, they have so many choices. And their tastes can change so quickly.
Right. Like what's hot today might be old news tomorrow.
Exactly.
So will e.l.f.'s fans stick with them through this? Or will they be tempted by, all those other brands out there?
The new shiny object.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about those international brands, the K-beauty stuff.
Right. And all the high-tech skincare.
Exactly. So it's a real test for e.l.f.
Yeah, it is. It's like a loyalty test.
It is.
So how do they pass the test?
Well, I think it comes down to staying relevant, continuing to innovate, and connecting with their audience on a deeper level.
I like that.
It's not just about offering the cheapest products anymore. It's about creating a brand story that resonates with people.
Yeah. It's about creating an experience
Absolutely.
that people want to be a part of.
And e.l.f. has done a good job of that in the past.
Yeah.
But they can't just rest on their laurels.
Right. Because the competition is fierce.
It is.
And it's only getting fiercer. So e.l.f.'s leadership, they're going to have to make some tough decisions
They are.
to make sure the company stays ahead of the curve.
And can adapt to these changes.
Absolutely. So as you're thinking about investing in e.l.f., keep that in mind. Think about their brand loyalty and whether they can maintain it.
It's a key factor.
It is.
Because ultimately, that's what's going to drive their long-term success.
All right. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about e.l.f.'s challenges, their opportunities, and the overall outlook for the beauty industry.
Yeah, it's been a great discussion.
It has, and we hope you found it helpful. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on e.l.f.'s future? Head over to the comments section and let us know.
We'd love to hear from you.
And of course, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends.
Yeah, spread the word.
All right. That's it for today. Thanks for listening to Investing Talk Podcast.
We'll see you next time.